Hey guys, just to let you all know that this upcoming Wednesday, October 27th, is going to be my 25th birthday. And the way I am choosing to celebrate it is to do yet another live stream, this time being a gaming live stream, and we will be streaming The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. We will be playing the original GameCube port. So make sure to stop on by. We are going to be starting around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link will be in the description of this video below. So with that out of the way, guys, let's just go ahead and get this video started. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio. Today, we are going to be talking about The Last Duel once again. I know that we just covered this, but this article just came onto my radar, and it's actually quite interesting, and that is The Last Duel's box office failure proves streaming isn't the real villain. The Last Duel's unfortunate opening weekend box office failure proves poor marketing can do more harm to a great movie than streaming premieres. Ridley Scott's The Last Duel brought in a disappointing box office return for its opening weekend, proving that dual day-and-date release streaming releases aren't the real culprit for box office failures. The Last Duel is Scott's period drama epic about a series of true events from medieval France, following and guys, before we go further, I am going to apologize early because I am a bit rusty on my French. So if I mispronounce any of these names, whatever, you were warned. Following, I think it's pronounced Jean de Carge, because I remember the S as being silent. I think it's a Jean de Carge, played by
Matt Damon,
as a knight who challenges his former friend and squire Jacques Legris, and that one I do know how to pronounce, starring Adam Driver, to a duel to the death after Marguerite Joni Corner, or is it Joni Comer? I think it's Joni Corner, but that looks like an M. I think it's Joni Comer. And I hate how the R's and the N's in some typefaces kind of blend together so it looks like an M. But I'm tangenting. Carge's wife accused Legris of rape. The film premiered as an exclusive theatrical release on October 15, 2021, to largely positive reviews and celebrations of The Last Duel's all-star cast performances. Since the pandemic began closing down theaters in early 2020, streaming premieres have largely been blamed for popular movies' failure at the box office. This argument was most prominent with the highly anticipated MCU releases like Black Widow and the subsequent Scarlett Johansson Disney lawsuit over lost earnings, but the movie was still arguably successful in theaters despite a Disney Plus streaming release. Strangely, the movies that have brought in the fewest numbers at the box office were the ones that didn't have a day-and-date dual streaming theatrical premiere. Again, there's exceptions to every rule. A movie similar to The Last Duel as a period drama action that had a mediocre performance at the box office was The Green Knight, which was critically acclaimed and yet didn't draw in enough moviegoers to offset its franchise counterparts. Similarly, The Card Counter, which had Oscar Isaac and new Hollywood director Paul Schrader as its selling points, has earned less than $4 million since its September premiere. It's a time in which franchises and existing IP movies are the ones that succeed, and they happen to be killing it at the box office, even when a significant portion of them is released on streaming services at the same time as their theatrical debuts. For the non-franchise movies that are taking on Goliaths like Eternals and eventually Spider-Man No Way Home, how are these thoughtful dramas supposed to succeed? Following No Time to Die as the major October film release event, Ridley Scott's The Last Duel premiered in a wide release on October 15th alongside Halloween Kills, the second installment of David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy. In a surprise turn of events, The Last Duel was absolutely smoked by Halloween Kills at the box office against a $100 million budget. The Last Duel only managed to bring in $4.8 million in its opening weekend, whereas Halloween Kills, which was also simultaneously streaming on Peacock, earned a whopping $50.4 million. Many expected Halloween Kills to plunge at the box office based on its dual day-and-date release on Peacock, but it managed to bring in a demographic that many films are struggling to adhere to. Per The Hollywood Reporter, nearly 50% of Halloween Kills' audience was under the age of 25, and this happens to be the age group most consistently attending movies during the pandemic. Additionally, Green's movie a great marketing campaign despite Halloween Kills' mixed reviews. It's October. People love to go see Michael Myers around Halloween, and there's less to do as the nights get shorter and colder. So young audiences are going to flock to see a reliable slasher franchise that they've been anticipating for years. Halloween Kills is becoming a streaming anomaly for its surprising box office success, which also points out the major issues with The Last Duel, namely that the big bad Duel streaming release wasn't what caused its failure. But again, I have to bring this argument up again, and I've brought it up time and time again, and I don't care if I sound like a broken record, is that I feel like they love comparing apples to oranges. They're assuming that the audience that would go see Halloween Kills would also have gone to see The Last Duel. Again, there's no actual data or statistics to back that up. So, you know, at this point, it's merely just an assumption. It's easy to blame streaming for box office failures in pandemic times, but The Last Duel was a surprising bomb that wasn't subject to a simultaneous day-and-date streaming release. As such, The Last Duel's failure suggests streaming isn't the biggest villain for theatrical bombs, it's still poor marketing. Ridley Scott's The Last Duel truly had a lot going for it, with it being Scott's first major picture since Alien Covenant and All the Money in the World in 2017. As one of the most prolific blockbuster directors since 1979, Ridley Scott has built a loyal fan base that should have meant at least mediocre theater attendance for The Last Duel. Sadly, the movie didn't even break $5 million in its opening weekend at the box office. The marketing for The Last Duel was surprisingly weak considering its stellar cast and notable director, and this is where I do agree with them, is that I don't remember seeing too many trailers. In fact, what I'm going to do for you guys right now is I'm actually gonna show you a trailer for The Last Duel, and I'm actually really curious to see if you've actually seen this particular trailer on television. Personally, I haven't. It came out I think it was the first trailer came out about 3 months ago. And if you guys have already seen this or don't care about the trailer, here is the time code to the video where you can skip to, and we will continue the commentary.
There is only one question that matters. Do you swear on your life that what you say is true?
My father told me my life would be blessed with good fortune. I'm married. I was a good wife. And then was judged and shamed by my country.
I say before all of you, I spoke the truth.
A most unspeakable charge has been brought against you.
Jacques Legris entered our home. He attacked me.
The accusation is false.
I am telling the truth.
The truth does not matter. There is only the power of men.
This should be settled quietly.
I'm innocent!
I request a duel to the death.
If you lose, your wife will suffer dire consequences.
One of us has lied. Let us let God decide.
You do not believe me.
I am risking my life for you.
You are risking my life so you can save your pride.
The penalty for bearing false witness is that you are to be burned alive.
I will not be silent.
Anyways, guys, getting right back to the article, the marketing for The Last Duel was surprisingly weak considering its stellar cast and notable director, but it did also call back to what was beloved of old school Hollywood. The Last Duel's historical epic loaded with non-CGI action was heavily marketed to classic Hollywood fans that primarily consists of an older audience, and this is the demographic that is yet to truly return to cinema going. Again, how do you know that it's only the older demographic? There's some of us young bucks in the 18 to 25 demographic that are getting sick and tired of all of these, CGI, crash, boom, bam, major explosion every 30 seconds type movies. I think that they have a point with regards to the marketing is like, how many people have truly seen a trailer for The Last Duel and it's like, oh, yeah, that movie was a thing. The Last Duel's opening weekend ticket buyer demographics featured only 2% under the age of 18, 17% under the age of 25, and more than 80% of its audience was over the age of 25 via The Hollywood Reporter. Despite the fact that very few tickets were sold, the overriding majority of them were sold to older audience members with a seemingly minuscule allotment of under 25s. Even with 80% of tickets accounted for by over 25s and a demographic that is likely older still in reality, that doesn't amount to a great deal and shows the problem of marketing to a group who don't want to come out to the cinema. The audience split confirms the marketing would be smart in an ordinary world, but cinema is not one at the minute. This said, by the time The Last Duel was released and its poor box office performance was reported, many hadn't even realized it was out yet. I'm one of those people. I completely forgot this movie was even getting made. The marketing lead up to its premiere was scarce, so those who went to see it were either truly invested in the premise, stars, and action, or are more subscribed to the Hollywood industry and all of its upcoming movie releases, like this random jackass on the internet that's talking to you right now. Return to The Last Duel's 2021 theatrical age range marketing. Disney should have noticed that those attending films were in the younger demographic and should have adjusted its trailer choices accordingly. For one, many had no idea that Ben Affleck was in the movie or what his role was. He was only a blip in the trailers. And you heard me right. I called him Ben Affleck. I've never been a big fan of his movies, and if Family Guy has, if we learned anything from Family Guy, it was this.
I am going to prepare for this as thoroughly as Ben Affleck prepares for a role.
Whoa, I got to be Henry VIII in 20 minutes. Hello. Got it.
Affleck has a lot of pull with how present he is in the pop culture gossip sphere, and especially through his reach into younger audiences with his role as Batman, so The Last Duel should have used his image as a selling point. See, I could make the exact same argument for, the fact that Matt Damon was in the movie and all the younger crowd will go, hey, Jason Bourne! So why are you only sticking to Ben Affleck? Again, I can apply that very logic to Matt Damon. This logic cuts both ways here. The Last Duel also happened to be one of the last upcoming movies acquired by Disney and its deal with 20th Century Fox. Scott's movie is a medieval drama based on no existing IP that features a dark, upsetting premise, which is not what Disney is primarily focusing on. At the time, a gripping period drama with no corporate investment or franchisement and overused IP is exactly what Hollywood needs right now. With Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings and Free Guy rounding out summer releases and major blockbusters like Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, and West Side Story coming up in November and December, The Last Duel, which has no franchise potential or existing fan base, was clearly not Disney's priority. Word of mouth essentially branded The Last Duel as a true story about a rape allegation, and while the subject matter is important in the Me Too context, oh no. I'm not going down that rabbit hole today. I'm just not in the mood. And as true historical retrospective, it's not what's going to pull in audiences over Michael Myers, a reliable franchise figure terrorizing Haddonfield in Halloween Kills. Again, apples to oranges. You're assuming that because I want to go see Halloween Kills in theaters, that means that I want to go see The Last Duel as well. Again, where is your data to back that up? Interestingly, the conversations on social media about The Last Duel's unfortunate box office failure seem to be increasing theater attendance. The initial marketing for The Last Duel may not have worked off the bat, but its reputation as a gripping movie that shouldn't have bombed is making up for it in the long run. It's a Ridley Scott action movie reminiscent of Gladiator, featuring the reunion of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, while starring newer Hollywood figures like Jodie Comer and Adam Driver. The Last Duel should not have bombed at the box office. Strangely, it may have even benefited by growing a larger audience had it been simultaneously released on Hulu for its first 45 days. The Last Duel is an action-packed movie that deserves to be seen on the big screen, but the crowd it's looking for is at home. If Disney moves The Last Duel to an earlier VOD release, it may be able to recoup its losses faster and gain a more passionate audience to increase its Oscars chances. It's not unheard of, with the beloved Shawshank Redemption being a notable case of a box office dud turned home rental success, and many people nowadays don't know that. Is Shawshank Redemption, I believe it barely broke even at the box office at the time, but the minute it hit home video is when it became considered a quote-unquote classic. The exact same thing happened with Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life. You know, it came out in 46, it bombed in theaters. In fact, it bombed so hard that, you know, the production company behind it, I can't remember who it was right now, didn't even bother renewing the copyright, so it fell into the public domain. And then what started to happen is local television networks who obviously were a bunch of cheapskates, you know, they couldn't afford to show the biggest and greatest movies, you know, just dusted it off and it's like, we'll show this around Christmas. And that's how it became a Christmas classic. The exact same thing happened in Citizen Kane, but I better stop tangenting. Otherwise, I'm going to turn this into a huge film history lesson. And we could be here for the next 2 hours if I really wanted to. With the sudden plethora of major film releases in fall 2021, audiences really have to choose which movies they're most eager to see and risk COVID exposure for. No Time to Die's opening brought out a surprising demographic to the movie theater with the 35-plus crowd, which has historically been the most loyal theater-going age bracket. For many in this age range, it was the first time they've been back to movie theaters since the pandemic began, via The Hollywood Reporter. It seems older audiences are more willing to risk exposure to see Daniel Craig's last hurrah as James Bond. I am so sorry if you are... Actually, no, I am not sorry if you are, if you're that type of person, because the Daniel Craig era of James Bond has fucking sucked. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Daniel Craig's run as James Bond has been one of the absolute worst, in my opinion. Where was I? Okay, Daniel Craig's last hurrah as James Bond, then venture outside, then see movies like The Last Duel, whose characters audiences don't have an established relationship with. The Last Duel would have been far better suited for a break in the major release-packed schedule, though it's clearly on an Oscars campaign and thus wants to be closer to the tail end of 2021. The Last Duel is still fighting off late ticket buyers for No Time to Die. Slasher fans for Halloween Kills, and Marvel's Venom 2 fans, and it isn't slowing down in future weeks. Now, The Last Duel has to battle a long-anticipated blockbusters with loyal franchise fans like Dune. I know there's a lot of people that really like the books, but if you're judging it based on the 1984 movie, a lot of people didn't really like that version of Dune. Most people only liked the sci-fi miniseries. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Wes Anderson fans for The French Dispatch, and Edgar Wright's anticipated horror movie Last Night in Soho. The fall 2021 schedule is packed, which is a significant reason why many movies scheduled for this time, like Top Gun Maverick, have been delayed until late in 2022. Many of the highly anticipated movies that will likely still be critically acclaimed will suffer at the box office throughout the next few months, and like The Last Duel, it won't have anything to do with how well made or gripping the subject matter actually is. The Last Duel still has a chance to grow its box office earnings by bringing in more viewers through word of mouth, but missed an opportunity to exceed outside of the IP full fall lineup. And this has been the main problem with this has been the main movie theater problem, and I think this is what they're alluding to. Every movie studio with COVID decided to take the snowplow strategy, or what many would call a log jam. It's typically called a snowplow. Basically, what they did is they kept delaying the movies, delay. And what ended up happening is that now all these major releases are all coming out around the same time. So I don't think it's people that are really like, oh my God, what movie am I going to risk COVID exposure for? Because I personally don't know anyone in October 2021 that truly is concerned about COVID exposure. No, what I think is going on is actually rather simple. I think people only have enough money to see maybe let's just say 2 movies total. But now they they want to go see 5 that are currently out in theaters. The problem is most people will enter into a state known as analysis paralysis and then inevitably just say, fuck it. And just go and watch something on Netflix or Amazon or Hulu or Peacock or whatever. I think that's why you're seeing some of these movies fail. It has nothing to do with COVID. It has everything to do with the fact that the studios just wanted to snowplow everything up until this time, whereas they should have utilized the streaming releases. They should have utilized the streaming releases day and date more. That way, they wouldn't really feel the effects of the snowplow or that proverbial log jam. And I remember being on another show. This was over a year ago, and I actually predicted this very thing, that the problem with the studios is they're going to snowplow everything, and now everyone is making less money because, now the audience is in a state of analysis paralysis that, good luck getting out of. And guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it right here because I feel I've tangented on long enough. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. And remember, guys, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be streaming The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, playing the original GameCube version, the best version of that game. And if you guys have been following me long enough, you know I am terrible at ending these videos. So I will just see you guys next time.